Greetings, everyone. I am Jarus, and with me today is Captain Tyler. I am just using Fallout 76's background footage. I did label it as such on Twitch for those who want to see that kind of footage. But this is the Q&A show. It is 4:20. What is it? I am spying on Lightning Dragon. He's playing a new character in Fallout, and I decided to stalk him with my shotgun character and shoot at him. Now he's beating on me with his pistol. He's not on the stream, but I can stalk him online. You know, cause him much anarchy here. I'll give him a dance. There we go. The Mothman dance. And there he goes. Anyway, so this is the open Q&A show. I didn't even label it as Star Citizen Q&A. I just labeled it as Q&A. So we're going to discuss whatever's on your mind today outside of politics, because politics is so divisive that unless you're 100% in agreement with everybody, nobody likes you. And frankly, let's face it, nobody 100% agrees with anything in politics ever, and that's not a lot of fun to talk about. Well, it can be if that's your focus, but that's not mine. And of course, I am not Willie Nelson, so I am not. If you're looking at watching the Willie Nelson live stream right now, every time I turn on Twitch today, it's when I try to go to the setups and whatnot, it's been like Willie Nelson just pops up on my screen. It's Willie Nelson's live 420 show or something, and which I think is very appropriate. Which I'm totally fine with. It's just kind of funny that every time it's been so far today, Twitch has been, since I've turned it on to set things up, has been Willie Nelson. So. More power to the guy. He's a great singer, and still, I think it's just very interesting that Twitch it's putting that in their front today. So I watched the Star Citizen Live, and they talked a lot about the friends lists, a little bit about the quantum travel system, about setting coordinates and things like that. Now, the setting coordinates thing. I remember them a while ago saying how difficult that would be. To me, it's like, I don't understand why that would be so difficult. There's a lot of games that, like even like Eve, where you can make bookmarks in these gigantic areas that you really shouldn't have any. If they can do it in a universe of their size and systems of their size, Star Citizen shouldn't have any real issues either, I would imagine. I always looked at it as you could break it up into, like, look at a star system as, think of it as one gigantic cube, right? And then you can break it up into smaller cubes. Like, let's say you break up the first cube into, let's just make an easy number, 200 cubes. Okay, one gigantic cube represents the system. And then you break it down to 200 cubes going, obviously up, down, left, right, X, Y, Z axis, and then... And then with each one of those cubes, you have like 200 cubes. And you keep breaking it down further like that. And you create an address. And eventually you get down to the smallest cube that forms an address, like within a few kilometers. So you basically, you just label out a cube that way. It's like a major, minor. You keep drilling down into a subset, kind of like folders, until eventually, you create an actual physical address. Or something along those lines, where they don't have to label out an exact to the centimeter, kind of like location, but just kind of a grid, if you will. But anyway, so it's something I hope that they also talked about how, oddly enough, that their system isn't going to allow you to, like, if you want to travel to a moon, you're always going to have to travel to a planet first and then go to the moon. It's not the way that their quantum travel is set up, which is kind of interesting that you won't be able to do that. I mean, it seems. If it's that hardwired, I'm not exactly certain how they can. These jerks. I'm not exactly certain how they can ever give us the free travel that the game really requires. If they have like weird systems like that, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see. The friends list, of course, the whole friends update in the system is. Much welcomed, much desired, I think, by the community as a whole, especially by me at this point in time. The oh my God, I wasn't even trying to file lightning, and there's lightning again. I just feel like this could be the harass lightning stream. I just chase after him and throw grenades, because this is grenadier. Have a grenade, lightning! Grenade! Anyway, but yeah, the whole friends list thing, they talk about how basically they got 50 people together and they did it within 35 minutes to get them all on the same server, which was, they said, a massive improvement over what originally took them over 2 hours to do just for a few people. So hopefully they'll get that nailed down, and we can start actually doing a lot more. Not just people on this channel, but just generally speaking, you and your guild mates, whatever, can go. There's a gate guard here.
Messing around.
Weird.
Evening.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, basically, there's so much that's changed in this game. I'm not used to it yet. But basically, it'd be nice to be able to get together with everybody with a little fuss and muss as possible. Uh-oh, lightning's in danger. I must save lightning. It's my job. I'm here to save you, lightning. I don't think this door ever opened before. Maybe it did. I don't know. Oh, I'm out of water. We're running low on water. As always, so leave your comments down below. I am watching chat from out of the corner of my eye as they explode. And we'll get to your questions or whatnot as we go. As I said, I try to do a stream, always do a stream on Monday because it's important to be consistent. All right. Yes, my shotgun is brutal. There we go. Oh, shotgun shells. I would use more of those, clearly. But anyway, this is just a hanging out stream, so I will go ahead and give you guys a few minutes to jump in. And if not, we won't have that long of a stream today. I just didn't want to come on in, and I didn't want to skip a day. Didn't want to skip a day is what it comes down to. And by the way, if the someone shot shooting missiles at me. Who's doing that? Aha. You. There we go. But if the Evocati build goes to non-NDA, we go wave 1, I will probably do a stream on that, just digging around and showing off some of the new locations, some of the new things, the day that happens. I'm half expecting it to go, I was expecting it to go live today, or at least wave 1 today, or during the stream, because that's the way things work a lot of times when it comes to my timing. And I would be like, I was half expecting someone to come in chat already and go, hey, did you know I just went wave 1? Right in the middle of as I'm running around shooting things. And I wouldn't be surprised, I wouldn't be shocked in the least. I would just kind of sigh and go, yeah, I guessed as much. This is still sealed off. I haven't opened that up yet. A lot of hidden rooms. There's a hidden basement on one of these buildings actually. That's hidden. It's a hidden door. It takes you through a long chain of events that takes you to a hidden security locker. There's a lot of hidden stuff in this game. I mean, we didn't even know about that one for about a year until I think it was my brother who came across someone it was just a door. Someone came out of a basement through a wall that was slit open. He was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah, I was in the basement.
Yeah,
and then I watched the wall move. And
and then we had to figure it out. I was like, "Wow!" I think I think it's the building right here. There's Lightning's group. But anyway, so I think it was this one actually. Let me check. No, maybe not. No, yeah, I think it's the basement over here.
I don't remember if that's the door to get you the Nuka Shine armor paint or not.
Yeah, I think there was a Nuka Shine, but there was a where is it? I think it's this one. Yeah, here it is. There's these two key cards here and here, and they're linked to something else, a whole different area of the map, right? And it opens up this wall right here. It will open up, and then there's a hidden switch in this wall, which will then open up another panel, which basically gets you a key. But the whole sequence of events is like to get the passcode to get the key cards, and it's just like it's on like a whole another section of the map. So it's like there's a lot of these weird hidden things that, and a lot of them are hinted at in notes and things like that, and they're obscure. And kudos to people who like actually managed to figure that crap out. But for me, it was a matter of a YouTube video to figure that out because once I knew that its existence, I could look it up. But someone who ever figured it out first, kudos on them. I am not intentionally trying to follow lightning. It just seems to be that's exactly what's happening here. Because I'm like, I just picked a direction and there's lightning's group again. I don't see lightning though. Hmm. Weird. There's a camp up here. Oh, wandering. Oh, the storyteller dude. Yeah, the guy with the dogs. Yeah, the NPCs will set up different tents in different areas and randomly. It's really nice. There's a lot of nice improvements on here. But anyway, I said, yeah, maybe it's gonna be a real short stream today. Not a single comment so far. Not even gonna go F yourself. It's 4:20. I'm blazing it. Oh, that's all right. I just didn't want to skip a day. It's really hard sometimes to do a topic on, especially. That's why I didn't even label it a Star Citizen Q&A because I didn't feel that was going to be uh, a fair assessment of the situation by any measure or means. And if it wasn't for my little Kindle, I wouldn't even know that I was live right now. There we go. Oh, what is this?
Gotta wait a whole nother hour for that food to reheat.
You guys should probably avoid this town.
Back to this area. They'll all want to be setting up places like Foundation.
It's so weird watching caravans of people walk in and then get slaughtered by like, guys, this is not a good town for you to cross through. That is definitely not an area to go down into. That's full of super mutants. You guys are so dead. And there's cultists here. Anyway. Well. Aha. Then they exploded. Woohoo! I'm not messing around. Guys, not a good place for you to be. Man, not the brightest bulbs. I feel like I gotta save these guys from themselves. Yeah, they're under attack. What are the odds? There we go. Anyway, so nice quiet Monday. I hope everyone is having a safe time being locked up. Whoa, someone. What is that? There we go. That's a lot of people like I think that are, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to getting back to work, honestly. It can be a bit much sitting in your house the whole dang time. You know. Give me the Molotov cocktail. Get off the thing.
It's just about time to eat.
I'm okay.
Okay. Wow. I went on rescue patrol now with these guys. It's not exactly what I was looking for, but they're too stupid to know any better.
Oh, I've heard some amazing stories about legend around here.
All right. Well, I cleared a path for them, so they owe me. Though this house could be full of ghouls, I might as well save them from the... No, it's the next house over, actually. This one. All right, they're safe. I think I can get them to the town now. Yep. Oh, so I'm continuing to play this, of course. I'm getting myself familiar more with the changes. And one of the reasons, by the way, I chose this as a background thing because I can stop moving like this and just talk if I want to. It's simpler. It's easier for me to. I thought about doing like Forza but you can't really stop racing in the middle of it. I can stop walking or whatever here in the middle of this. So much easier this way for me just to do my thing. Although I do really wish it was the new 3.9 build because I really do want to show you guys that stuff so much. Not a lot of new gameplay. What the jerk? Not a lot of new gameplay stuff, of course. I mean, we're waiting on so many mechanics in Star Citizen that oh goodness. Goodness gravy. Pissed them all off. Anyway. Alright guys, well, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll just cut this one short. There's really nothing going on. No one's saying anything, and I kinda get it. I get it. You know. We're all kinda stuck in our own little worlds or whatever. And oddly enough my light in my room just went out, but I'm still online.
Yeah, I still hear you.
Yeah. But it's dark in here now. So this is a little weird. Luckily my keyboard's lit. I'm looking around, like what the heck? It's completely dark. Anyway.
Saving electricity for the computer.
I guess. But I don't know, just gonna hang out for a few more minutes, but you know.
I have an alt tabbed because I'm in Watoga, but
yeah, I'm gonna stand up and walk over here real quick. That's the advantage of having a headset now as opposed to desk mic. Huh. Alright, there I had to turn it back on. I was worried it turned itself off. I don't know why, but whatever. I can see now, so that's good. It's really odd. I don't even know if anyone's even watching at the moment. Whatever. I'm not a big streaming star. That's I lack the two most important attributes to being a streaming star. But to do that, I first have to be a woman, and then I'd have to probably have to work on having those two assets that make me a good streaming star. Oh.
I don't know. There's a new where they're doing the CGI now, so
yeah, from what I've heard, yeah. There's the whole thing I get it. I get it. That's a way for people to make money. I get it and whatnot, and that's their career. Whatever. I don't know. To me, it's kind of a weird way to do things. Like when it comes to streaming, like to focus on like the nature of just your physicality as a way to. I mean, I get it. I get some people are looking for that. I guess, but you know, for me, I just I don't know. I'm more interested in what people have to say. I'm more interested in the conversation. And maybe that's what makes me weird. Maybe that's why I subscribe to philosophy channels. Maybe that's why I subscribe to history channels and things like that. Because I'm interested in those kind of things. I'm interested in like, you know, there's some people that I listen to that have got like some amazing ideas. Or they talk about some really difficult subjects, you know, and the complexities behind it. And I don't see the point of for me watching someone just because they're attractive physically or whatnot, you know. I mean, maybe I don't know. I just don't. It doesn't really interest me in that regards. But there is a market for it. It is a. And right now, I guess there's a gigantic market for it with so many people being home that they're just watching all these different streams. So I think Twitch has been hammering down on that. Actually, I think they came up with a new code of conduct rules or whatnot dealing with how you have to dress or like, you know, I think they're getting rid of or nuking the body painting channels, basically, where they're basically just naked and they're just painting themselves or something. I don't know. It's a weird scenario. I can't even imagine making that something like that a career. And you should be thankful because, you know, I'm not as attractive as some of those girls by a long shot, I'd imagine. You know, unless you're into the long hair and whoa, super mutant, long hair and beards. So in
I
that
thought I heard
case,
you say long-haired super mutant.
oh,
It's like
say
what?
long hair and beards, then I'm totally your type. Um, so yeah, this other than that, you're just kind of out of luck. Especially right now, because I've got like an extremely unkempt beard because I haven't had any reason to trim it because I don't have a job right now. So it looks like a beard that I could probably take a lawnmower to it right now to probably get a more even a look because it's pretty bad right now. It's very bad. Um, it's definitely the most unkempt it's been in a long time. It would be I think I look one step shy of being completely homeless. I got kind of that look going on right now. Because my beard isn't growing like straight like in the same direction as everyone else. It's like the hair, each follicle decides to grow its own direction. So it's like if I don't take care of it, it's like it just like turns into a swirl of what the hell is that? It's like he's got a sheep on his face or something. It's pretty. uh, no, I wish it was actually white because then it's like it would because I've always kind of wanted to have my hair go silver.
Or you be like me and multicolored beard.
I've only got the one silver streak in my long hair. I got the one silver streak. It starts on the left hand side because the only one part of my hair is turned silver, and it's like that one like 20 strands of hair is like silver all the way down. So it's just, whatever. But it looks like I put a highlights in it. Like nope, that's just age. These guys are always good for explosives. But yeah, so. I take it none of you guys have any questions out there and just hanging out or you're not hanging out or you're just like maybe because it is 420 and you're and you're completely busy doing other things that go without saying. But that's all right.
Trying to recognize where you're at.
Oh, I'm at the airport, just next to the bridge. See?
Can you open your map so I can look? I know where you're at now. Boy,
Yeah.
it looks different.
It is different. They went back and revamped it a lot. There's just this airport.
Yeah.
Right? They want me to claim the workshop, but I really don't want to do that right now.
Okay, understand. I know where you're at now. I haven't been there since they've done the upgrade.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot. I'm finding a lot of new hidden locations. Besides the hidden tunnel, you were at one the other day, the Chinese base.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
Or there's the.
How many times I've walked through there and didn't think that there was a storyline with
Oh yeah.
Chinese agents.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. But here's a cultist. This is gonna be, I think, a cultist location because anything has got these little. Yeah, there they are.
I've been finding a lot of those. Either Mothman,
Catch.
a lot of Mothman actually.
Oh, game froze for a second.
Oh, I was gonna say that explosion didn't do squat.
Uh-oh, I'm a non-believer. That's a bee swarm. I don't want to target a bee swarm.
Get some honey.
Well, I guess it's there. The ultimate fly swatter. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, I mean, we streamed for about a half an hour. I don't think anyone's gonna be coming in today. And
It says on my thing that there's only 2 people viewing. So
yeah, it's probably just us. No one showed up at all. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, that is what it is.
maybe they didn't expect us to talk much because of the not much being.
Yeah,
out
yeah.
for
That'll
first.
teach you. That'll teach you as you're watching this on BitChute. If you're watching this at all, you missed out on the stream. You didn't join us. We said we'd be here. We were here.
We were gonna start chasing Lightning and his.
Right.
his
We were.
group of
There was going to be
bandits.
chaos. There was going to be chaos, and you wasted the opportunity. You wasted the chaos. And
Since we can't sell stuff and do things right now with the current problem in the game that they're working on, we could have just unleashed our extra ammo on the Lightning, and he would have been sitting there scratching his head, going, "Huh?"
yeah. Yeah, it is Monday. I had to check. It's like, is it Monday? Maybe I'm streaming on the wrong day. It's like, no, it's Monday. So yeah, do check out the. We did a race stream. I did a race stream with Lightning a couple days ago. It was really fun on Forza. And a couple days before, we did a kind of a walkthrough talk about the this particular Fallout 7060, the changes in the game, and kind of went off the rails a little bit. Talked about other things too, but it was pretty cool. But yeah, generally speaking, just relax and hope you had a good day when you see this on BitChute in 3 days. And no big deal, guys. I totally get it. Just, I think a lot of people are just either stressed out or just burned out, being stuck in their houses. I went to the gas station today. It's just kind of a final thought. Um, I just went to the gas station to just go over there and get some I got some Tic Tacs and whatnot. Something that just to pop in my mouth as I'm sitting here at the computer. And so I always go over there and get little things like that Tic Tacs and whatever. Anyway, so I'm in there and they got like these little lotto machines, like the kind that you play like slots on, those electronic ones. And there's like everyone's sitting there's wearing this mask, right? And then this other guy sitting there, and he's got on like a ski mask wrapped around his nose and mouth. Like when I say ski mask, I mean like that, like the wool kind of knitted kind, like the kind that you would make into a sweater. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a friggin' mask, okay? And on top of that, okay, and then the other guys, like, then all of them are wearing these masks too, but like the sides are open and like there's no eye protection. And then in the counter, they have like they put this thing of glass, like, or plexiglass, like this. Someone made it out of like a board, like they made a frame and then put plexiglass between you and the lady behind the register who was also wearing. And I'm thinking to myself, none of this is going to protect you. It gets through the eyes. None of you have eye protection. That little thing of plexiglass between you and the guy isn't going to stop you if I hand you money. Okay, it's gonna be on the bill. I mean, it's like, guys, they're all looking at me weird because I'm not wearing anything. But I'm like, look, I'm thinking to myself, there's no point. If you're so paranoid, you gotta protect yourself like this. Then do it, but don't half-ass it. Don't sit there and say I'm gonna pretend that putting a wool knitted sweater cloth strip around my mouth is going to stop anything. I feel better now. It's psychological. Seriously, just knock it off. You're not protecting anybody or anything. It's just, it's like just the paranoia, man. The paranoia. It's so funny. It's like the only thing that's bothered me about this whole thing is the fact that I haven't had a job and I've had to file unemployment and I have to deal with waiting for all those checks come in if I even get them. But I've had a good month off. I've had a nice chance to unwind. I've needed time off. I had 6 days off in like 7 years before, so I've had a month off to mess around and think around online with my brother. So I'm fine with it. I set aside all this money because I knew rainy days happen. I've always expect bad things to happen or some sort of unknown event. So I'm always ready for it because, I just expect sometimes the life to go sideways. But to watch these people, acting like their magic strip of loosely, and I mean, come on, you know what the texture of a knit sweater is. That's not going to stop anything.
It's a bit holy.
Yeah, it was a knit face mask, like made from from yarn, like that knit. And I'm like, come on. Our hero says, depending on whether you're using interfacing on your mask. Yeah, but their eyes were still exposed, Hero. I mean, they've already said multiple times that the eyes are one of the primary ways it gets through. And the thing is, like, so if you're going to be doing this, like why have your eyes exposed, right? I mean, you should be wearing goggles too or something, right? Goggles and a full. It's like you've got a ship that's got 2 gigantic holes in it, and you plug one, and the water's still coming in, right? And you're just like, that one's fine. That's also our see, but then you're not half-assing it, right, Hero? You're not half-assing it. You're not half-assing it at all. And you're taking the steps that you feel you need to do, and you're not being like that guy that had that knit mask, right? It was loose, like it was like open in the bottom. It was like he might have been coming in like it was like how you see in the old westerns, like where they come in wearing the bandana over the nose and they're hiding their face, but it's loose below and it's dangling down. That's how this thing was. There was no point to it. The guy was like looking at me like I was the one being stupid. But I was like, whatever, dude. Hero says, I think I might wear a full face shield now. I don't care if I look ridiculous. Well, yeah, but just don't make it out of a bottle, out of a water bottle, because those things look horrible. Mr. Veterinarian.
I'm sorry, but I think Mother has made masks for horses out of milk jugs. You know, just to keep them from scratching boo-boos.
Actually, she'd shown me. She had sent a picture basically that her sister had sent. They made a horse mask from a bra. They put a mask on a horse made of a bra.
Oh yes,
And it's like,
yes,
what
it's
the
on
heck is that? She
Facebook.
showed
Yeah.
me that. It's like, what is that? It says your aunt made masks for the horses. I'm like, what's the point? The horses can't get sick, and each horse has a bra on its face. What is going on? Um, and I was watching picture, like saw a picture. This is a time for the people of Walmart because the people of Walmart were there's like guys running around literally with tampons on their face. They like literally like strap a tampon over their face and nose, and it's just like, I guess it's got wings. I guess.
Yeah, this-
And it's like, did you take off the adhesive?
oh.
And play-
No.
there's so many,
No.
there's so many things I could say about that. The people of Walmart, man. If you ever go to that website, that is. But you have like the one guy who was going in wearing full scuba gear. I mean, like full scuba gear. He had the air tank. He had everything. The suit, the face mask, the air tank. Coffee filters are probably safer. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh! I tell you what, I am so happy the new coffee machine came in today. I haven't set it up because right here, right here. That is the sound of a war crime. That, my friend, is the sound of Folgers not decaf, Folgers Instant. Folgers Instant. Because my coffee maker died, and the one we have in there is terrible. That we got as a temporary one. It boils the coffee and it doesn't stop. It literally will boil it until it's like a black pitch tar. And so when it instead of like making more with that garbage, I basically just why is there a scorch beast here? Anyway, so instead of making more with that, I just said I broke out the Folgers crystals but that's disgusting. And I had to put like 2 sugars in it, or it's Folgers. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But Hero, do you play Fallout at all? By the way, just a quick question. I won't keep you on the stream forever. I'm not tending to draw it out if it's really quiet today. But I'm just curious if you played Fallout 76 at all. Because if you do, you're welcome to join us anytime, and we'll help you out. I've got 4 characters. This is my newest one, but not my lowest level one. I built it up during the Triple Experience Week that they had going on. So it's actually like, what level is it now? 164. So he's actually pretty strong. He's explosives shotgunner, explosives expert. He's got also I don't pull it out all the time, but he does actually have a power suit. I use it when I go for the full explosive. I have shotguns that are double shot and also some that are double shot explosive. He's basically crowd control. He disables. So I shoot the ground and basically lock them down so that everyone can go ahead and get their shots in. And but yeah, he's fun. He's fun. I enjoy running around with him, and I deaded him up as Old West style, and I call him Drifter. But the other thing about Fallout 76 is the names of your characters never show up for people. Just your name of your profile, your @ handle, if you will. So it doesn't matter what character you're on. You're always coming across here as Jarvis or whatever. And Captain Tyler is always going to show up as Captain Tyler.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which character.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which character.
Even though you go to the login screen, you choose which character which name, which picture, and then when you're running around the world above your head, it always says Captain Tyler.
Exactly. But that's how I was able to follow Lightning and stalk him, because that was the benefit of it. Oh, grenade.
I'm not looking at him right now. Is it a male character or female?
Female. Lightning. He
Ah,
always makes
figured.
female characters.
I thought maybe he would change it.
No, not Lightning. He always does female characters. And his reasoning is as good as anything. He says, okay, if I have to look at the third-person view of a character, if I have the choice, I have to look at the butt of a character. It's going to be a woman, and it's perfectly reasonable. I completely and totally get it. I just find it, I always find it like a little. I have one female character. I do. But I was actually started off as a male, but I changed it because I had all these female clothes and I didn't have any characters to wear it. But since you can go in and change the character at any point in time, the way they look, their gender, all of it. So I can make this one a female like right now if I wanted to. It wouldn't even matter. But so I was like, well, I'll just make Pistol Pete, Pistol Patricia, but Pistol Pete would still be the name, and then but basically, yeah. So I was like, okay, because I have all these dresses and things, and I didn't want the dudes running around in the dresses because to me it just didn't feel very, I just didn't want my characters like dudes in dress. I was like, I have all these green dresses and nice things. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go ahead and swap over that one. So yeah. But it says here you just have fought for a while ago. Yeah. Well, so if you ever do play 76, you're welcome to join us. Then it's one of those things that and I do apologize that this stream isn't a lot going on, and uh, I think we're all just in a major holding pattern right now. A lot of us in our lives, just personally speaking, I've been watching a lot of news and a lot of things like that. The odd thing is that for as much news and things as I've been watching, I can't keep up with it. Honestly, I am literally sometimes I'm 8 or 9 hours behind on videos because there's so much information about different things coming out. Like a lot of the content creators I follow are like I said they're like philosophy or whatever, and because they're locked in, they're pumping out so much stuff that I'll literally will blink and it'll say like in my inbox it'll say like, oh yeah, you have like 10 new videos, and I'm like, are you for real? Um, and so like I'll switch over, and there they are. It's just this big pile of stuff I got to go through. I don't watch all of it, but some of it I'm not interested in. But it's actually pretty much most. If I subscribe to somebody, there's typically a reason for it. Um, I like what they have to say, or So this is the house of this character. I put this one up on a lake, and haven't been back in a while. Sure, my salvage thing is getting pretty full here. But I kind of blended it into there was a pier that came out in the water, so I put a base right up to the edge of the pier, and then I built it onto the water, and then I put all the trees around it, and I wanted to power the external rad shower, but I didn't want to use a big generator and had to build up a building for it, so I took 3 of the windmill generators, which should be enough to power this, and set up here on the porch. And right now, there's a bug in the game where these stores aren't working, and so I even put little generators here to power the stores and the water purifier that's you can harvest here in the corner. And the house is pretty basic, it's pretty small, but it does the job, and you know, I like it. I like it. I think I did a pretty solid job on it. And I've actually had one guy chase me down in the world asking who did my decorations in my house, who did put my house together. And unfortunately, he got mad and he left because I wasn't talking to him. But there was a problem with the voice. And I was trying to answer him. I was speaking in the game, but he wasn't hearing me. But I wish I could have apologize to that guy. It was really cool that he chased me down to ask about it. But unfortunately, it was just the nature of it. The sound wasn't working. For some reason, the voice wasn't working at that point in time. There we go. Scrap and store. There we go. But yeah, it's just one of those things that when Evil Connie moves to Wave 1, I'll try to go ahead and fire up a stream, guys. If it's by 7 p.m. that day, even better. Try to remain consistent. But if it comes out later that night, then I'll do it later that night. And but anyway, I hope you're all having a peaceful day. And I'm sorry there's not more going, but hopefully I can get Lightning back on this week and do some more racing. If you watched it, I hope you had fun with that. Racing against Lightning is chaotic, but it has its moments. Definitely has its moments. And me driving cars that I had never tuned before, destroying myself in the most violent crashes that I could do. If we were really vicious in Forza, we'd just do full damage on, because then you'd really get to see car parts flying, I guess. But it's fun to watch a car roll 3 or 4 times and then I'm okay.
And then just thinking all the racing we did in Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
And we had engine on. Next thing you know, you're driving around. You've only got like a couple gears left of transmission because you've wrecked.
Yeah, yeah. The damage if you turn it on is a bit more robust. I used to race with full damage on when I did Forza 2 on Xbox, and uh, that was I did that the couple of reasons. One, to weed out people who didn't weren't as serious about the racing, and two, I really did want consequences. I didn't want people powering through corners by bouncing off of walls and crap. I didn't want people um, doing ridiculous things. And sometimes it costs you. Sometimes you get But what also thing is I would do as well is that you wait that. One of the keys to winning, and I would do like 10 laps. I never do this 3 laps thing because when you do damage, you want to have endurance, right? Because you want to make people have to suffer for their consequence, and then when you want to have times where people come in and they pit in. So like that first corner, the first 2 or 3 corners, I would always I'd never bum rush it. I'd wait, right? Because the first 2 or 3 corners, man, there so many cars get trashed, they get piled up, they get wrecked, they get smashed up that they have to try to limp their way back into the pits by the end of by the second lap. It gives you that the field gets narrowed down. You go from 10 guys online down to honestly 3, and you've already pulled so far ahead of them at that point in time that now it's spread out a bit, and so you've got a situation that now you got to deal with those three guys and typically those 3 guys, they're not the guys. One of them typically is the guy that was he was in the front to begin with, like in the lead, and a couple guys in the back who were hanging back for so, and then it becomes that kind of a 3-man race relatively quickly. But it's an interesting way of weeding people out really quickly. And a lot of people will just quit, and they'll be like, okay, well, but they still count towards the prize money because they were in the race and whatever. But that's the kind of, and I have to set car restrictions, like you can't drive this or this particular car because it's broken.
Everybody wants to drive these high-end formulas. And
Yeah,
you
was it a
D-class?
Jetta or
What in
something?
the world?
Well, yeah, either muscle cars or that Jetta, I think is one of those. There were a couple.
The Rabbit.
The Rabbit, yeah, whatever. Yeah,
It was so lightweight that you could add so much stuff to it.
there were some broken cars, and so basically don't drive this, don't drive this, and you get some guy in voice, he'd be screaming at you like, I'll drive what I want. I'm like, yeah, you certainly will, but not in my game. Kick. And then he tried to come back 5 or 6 times. You're like, dude, seriously, just go find another room. You're not gonna get through here. I don't know what your point is. I mean, why would you try to force yourself into a room where you're clearly, we don't want you driving that? There's hundreds of rooms. Go somewhere else. I never get that mentality with someone. They've got to prove a point. I was like, this is my room. This is my race. These are my rules. You can leave. And then they got to keep trying to jam their way in. You're like, come on, dude. Seriously, just stop. There's a whole internet out there. You don't have to be up in my grill.
Life has changed
You know?
so much.
And I don't. If you don't want to respect the rules of our race, then that's fine. Just go find someone that does. And I'm sure you've all experienced people like that before. They get very obstinate. They're like, they're like a dog with a bone, and you just can't get them to understand it. All you're trying to do is have a fair, fun with friends or whatever, and they just won't stop. Let's say a lot of times you see the mentality in Star Citizen where you've got like the whole thing where you for the longest time. Look how many people are left on Spectrum.
Yeah.
You've got a situation where a lot of people have been. I think they just stopped talking on Spectrum. I've stopped talking on Spectrum for a while now. I occasionally post, but not much, because there's no point to it. I think all the people who thought about the problem, tried to debate it, have just quit trying a long time ago. They quit trying to communicate because the only people who were interested really seriously talking about the subject have been either blocked, banned, chased off, nuked. They can't even don't bother trying to. They have to go to outside sources to even discuss it, and you end up with people who are living embodiments of the Dunning-Kruger effect. And I'm not saying I know everything. That's the first thing. I don't know everything, but I can solve people who make their careers out of flying. They're on our Discord. You've got military pilots, you've got civilian pilots, you've got sim enthusiasts, all in there talking, and all of them, talking about how these things blend and whatnot. But then you've got the people who, they're the meta players. They're the guys they're the guys who want to come into your room and they want to play the muscle car when the muscle car won't work for your race. And but they don't care. They're gonna get that muscle car rammed through, and they don't care what the consequences are. And so you get that person with that mentality who comes into and they dominate Reddit, they dominate Spectrum, and it becomes a cult of personality, not a cult of actual factual usable ideas. And this thing too that they mask it too. Like you've got some people on there, and I'm not going to name names, but if you're aware, you know what I'm talking about. Like they're really good at keeping track of all the data. They do great data spreadsheets. I'm happy that they do that, but they do it not. I don't think they do it as much for the health of the game, but to find the meta. They're always about finding the stupid meta. What they should be doing is saying, look, here's the thing. You shouldn't have a meta. Here's how you would balance it. But no, they're not interested in that. They're always just farming for the meta, and it's so pathetic.
I feel like these are the people who want to be on the leaderboards and say,
That's
"Look
all
what
they
I've
care about.
done."
That's all they care about. The game be damned. The game be utterly damned.
Long time ago, I realized I could not play as being
Yeah.
elite.
Yeah.
I play for fun.
Yeah. Hero says, yeah, we have how many? 2.5 million accounts for Star Citizen. How many are actually playing it though? Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, that doesn't help. You don't have a friends list that works worth a damn, but that comes together.
Well, they were supposed to make it so we could all be on the same server, and even that
That
can't
doesn't work
get
very
done.
well.
You sit there and wait.
Oop,
It's
I ran
like
through his thing.
server's always full. It's always got you are. There's 49 people on server waiting to get on list. It's like I thought friends take priority if we're on each other's friends list.
Yeah.
I
Well,
have that
originally they said it would hold a certain amount of slots. Like I think it was like, oh, if we got 50 people on a server, then like it'll have like 40 that'll be filled with people, and like 10 will be held for if a friend joins you or something. But it doesn't ever feel that it does that, or maybe it's just everyone's inviting their friends, but it should. I don't know. It's really weird. Here it says, I just saw a stream recently where there were literally 4 people in Arena Commander that a streamer could find. Yeah, Arena Commander's dead. It's been dead for a long time.
It's so arcadey. I don't know why people
Yeah,
fly in there.
yeah, exactly. It's been garbage for a long time. And the thing is that like it goes back to that thing. It's like where they and I have archived on BitChute and on my YouTube channel. That flight panel with Ben Lesnick and whatnot. They're talking about, well, we're finding a lot. We want to get more data from stick players, but they're just not playing the game. And then the comment from Chicken Giraffe was his name online, but it went by Peppers, and he did that great video and he says, oh, maybe this is a clue. What's wrong? Like people, like something's wrong with the game because people like aren't playing it. Like maybe you should stop asking. Oh, we need more data from them. It's like maybe that is your data. They don't like it. That's a clue.
Well, has there been videos that I've seen where the guy sits there with one hand and a mouse?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, he did it twice. He came back to it later. He did it again to prove the point. And it's just like, yeah, exactly. When you can play the game with one hand and your feet on the desk, and with I've used that in a mock commercial for their Defender. The point is that they when you can play a game like that, you've got problems. You really do. And so yeah, when people aren't playing Arena Commander, and that's supposed to be your premier test bed for flying, that should speak volumes. And you got people right now, once again, they're talking about the flying issue and stuff. But the problem is, look, how many times are they going to revamp the engine or the flight mechanics and always have the same basic problems? Because they don't address the actual problems. The controls. Start with the controls. I can't emphasize this enough. First order, universal, remove the point and click, proper virtual stick for the mice users, fix the controls. If you can do that so we're all playing the same game, you've got a much firmer foundation than what we're working with right now, which is everyone has a different experience depending upon the control type and the quality of that control. It is insane. Home seems to be the best way to play. Hands on mouse and stick. Yeah, well, yeah, if you want full control of all the systems, sure. And that's the thing though, is that it's but they don't address it. They haven't never, and as I said, it goes back to that community that it seems that these streams are always slow roll. I don't want to talk about much in the beginning, and then it kind of builds into something. We are a slow roll channel, ladies and gentlemen. So the thing is that they never actually. I guess Beckett's gonna go in my house. He's one of the NPCs that I have in my. He's the one opening my door all the time. You jerk. Anyways, the there we go. Uh, since the very first change, so I think was it 1.0? I know when they first introduced IM, they've been on a downhill slide on the game ever since, and they've only had more problems, not less. And it's not because they have more, not entirely because they've had more ships or whatever. It does make balancing more complex. It does, but it's always because of the fact that their foundation is garbage. Um, like I said, like I was talking about, like their idea with the quantum travel, like, well, you'll be able to jump directly to a moon. It's like, well, if you can't jump directly to a moon, then how can you say that eventually you want to have us be able to jump somewhere directly on a grid? Because technically speaking, if I can jump anywhere directly on a grid, then shouldn't I just be able to, technically speaking, jump directly to a moon? Because those two things seem to be kind of in lockstep with one another, wouldn't you think? Because I should be able just to plot a course, right? So, I mean, those two things seem contradictory. I should be able to just say, this coordinate will take me out next to the moon. And then at the same time, you're saying that, that you can't do that, that you're going to have coordinate, you get what I'm saying, though. It doesn't seem like those two things mesh. All right, so Hero says, I would be fine with gimbal control with mouse, but IMO just kills the enjoyment. Complete control of the ship's simple X-Y axis control scheme is absurd. Yeah. I've always said, like, for a while now, one of the options, like, okay, a lot of games give you options with mouse control. For example, like, okay, let's just use my screen here as an example. If this is a reverse, if your mouse is here, if I went right or left, now some virtual mice controls that will roll depending on how far center off we are. Like if I'm here in the center and I move off to the right, I start to roll a little bit. If I move this way, I may pitch up, and this way I may pitch down. So you can have like literally up is up and down is down, or you can have it reversed where this roll still work, but you move your mouse down and it moves your you start going up. And so there's relative mode, which is more like as you move your mouse, like you would here, the ship kind of tries to as you move your mouse to the right, the ship is moving to the right, but only as fast as the ship can actually move. And there's like I think Peppers did a thing where or Chicken Giraffe, where he did a thing where he talked about how you can have like a button where you could press, you could switch between virtual mouse and like a relative 1-to-1. But the thing is that none of those, as you're flying, give you direct control of the guns. And that's the thing, is that because I always looked at it as a push-pull mechanic. The best way I can describe what IM is a push-pull mechanic, the way I compare it. Okay, so imagine you have a wed, like you're a kid, you have like a little I can't speak, little red wagon. And you have, when you're flying with with IM, the wagon's behind you and you're dragging it by the handle, okay? And the handle is the cursor. It's the reticule. Now, as you go over bumps and stuff, how when you're dragging a wagon behind you, it handles a certain way. Now, when you're doing the first order, it's like you are pushing the wagon from behind. Now, it's in that regard. You could also, maybe the difference between front wheel drive and rear wheel drive in a car. It's another perspective. So it's like, so you're pushing the wagon from behind. And if you've ever pushed something that's wheeled from behind, you know what happens when you hit every bump. When you drag it with a handle, you can handle bumps and stuff, and there's less jarring on the body. The wagon's basically just following along. That's kind of what IM is. You put your cursor here, the ship kind of goes along where your cursor's pointed. When you're doing first order, you're pushing it. You're pushing the ship with through the corners. You're pushing it. So when you hit that bump, it's more jarring. It can be harder to handle, but you can also get more direct force behind it. So you push something over rough terrain. Pulling sometimes doesn't work as well, or at least cause the little wagon to flip over. Sometimes you want to push. But the point is, it's a different experience, but it handles differently. So that's kind of the way I view it. And I hope that kind of makes sense. If you can visualize the difference between pushing and pulling a little red wagon, and know that's a different experience. So everyone should be pushing instead of these guys pulling and these guys pushing. It's kind of like racing in a race car game, front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive. If you want to think of it that way, you typically don't mix and match those car classifications. You don't. on track for a reason. They handle differently. You would have a big mess on the racetrack going through corners with a front wheel drive versus a rear wheel drive trying to take the same corner because they handle it differently. It's going to be it could be a heck of a pile up, frankly. Um, let's see here. Hero says some players still argue that IM isn't the problem. Some people quit at 2.6 because of missile spam. But missiles aren't even the problem. Missiles are just
Missiles aren't working
missiles
right
are just
now,
poorly
really.
implemented. They've just never been good. There's tons of games out there with good missile mechanics, and CIG hasn't looked at any of them. They
More like
treat
rockets.
missiles no different than a heat-seeking rocket in Battlefield. In fact, they don't even treat it as good as that. They have absolutely no idea how to do missile mechanics. They are clueless on missile mechanics. And it's a sad thing. It's like I said, there are 1,000 games out there that CIG could buy, play, have reference to. Modders that have made games 1,000 times without flight models, 1,000 times better, that do what they're trying to do, but do it better. They haven't reached out to any of them, as far as I know. They don't reference anything. They're just like, we got this. It's like, hold my beer. I am making a system. Hold my Corona, if I want to be more appropriate for the day and age, or the coof. Hero says mouse control makes Star Citizen like an interactive flash game, not flight sim. Yeah, it does. Yeah, and it can make it like a flight game for a second. It can make it like an actual flight game if they actually treat it like flight controls, but they choose not to. As I said, the developers don't know what they're doing when it comes to flight. They are clearly FPS developers. They handle missiles like shoulder-mounted bazookas. They handle flight controls like an FPS. They handle the pacing like an FPS because the maneuvering like an FPS. They have zero understanding as far as I've seen in the history of it. The physics underside is fine. The physics people have never been the problem. It's the most utterly, and that's why I said I have offered, and I am legitimately 100% serious that I will buy them a copy of Evocron, like right now. I will send it to them because they need to see better pacing. They need to understand what's going on. Evocron Legacy, boom, copy. I've pledged enough money in the game. I'm willing to spend $25 more and support also Evocron. Also, or you know what I'll do? I could also send them a free copy of Diaspora. They can try that for free, right? Wing Commander Legacy, they can try that for free. That's a fan-made Wing Commander game, right? Free as well. There's a ton of games out there that they can just. Right now, DCS is free for the entire month. It's free for the entire month. Download it. Play it. Learn what missiles do. Learn how missiles work. Try it. See what an actual working MFD seems like. See why they're made the way they're made and what they're supposed to do. Not just slap some random images on a screen with nonsensical pages. Play some games. Honestly, you're stuck at home. Play some actual games. Here I said, this is another thing that's been bothering me with Star Citizen. Why not use a flight model like how jet fighters worked in MiG Alley in real life? Since back then there wasn't BVR and jets had roughly the same speed as ships in Star Citizen World War II style airback maneuvering. Right. Like I talked about, like Star Citizen isn't World War II in space. It's the Korean War in space because we've got missiles involved, and the Korean War still had the dogfighting. Right, you still had the gunplay and you had the introduction to missile mechanics. So if you treated it more like Korean War in space, and you went with the speeds and dynamics roughly of that time frame, you would end up what you do is you look at the planes, you say here's their performance vectors, and here's the missiles, here's their performance vectors, and you set your atmospheric flight to follow those trends. Then as you go to space, you remove the atmospheric physics. Drag, lift, gravity, and then you change those differences are subtracted from the flight dynamics as you go into space, and you don't have to make special flight models. You just let the physics work. And there are thousands, there's reference all over the world for them to pull from, and they just don't do it. They throw darts at a dartboard. Just chucking them away, and it's just so apparent when you have weapons that are broken continuously over patches, meta friggin' broken. Hero says SCM speeds are the kind of like that as well, since jet fighters have problems when approaching the speed of sound when it came to maneuvers. Yeah, you get when you deal with drag and stuff like that, you can that kind of deals with you don't have to worry about like their way of artificially limiting like their safe speed. It should just be drag. Like your ship can only go so fast because of drag and atmosphere. You shouldn't have like, oh, here's your safe speed. Maybe if you want to say like if you're entering too fast and your ship starts taking damage because you're coming in too hot, fine. But this is weird, arbitrary. This is as fast as you can go because it should just be a characteristic of your vehicle based upon its aerodynamic principles or properties. And if you're in a gravity field of an atmosphere of a planet that doesn't have an atmosphere or has a weaker atmosphere, then those properties should change. It shouldn't be just a cap number based upon how high you are from the ground that sets a certain speed. This game was supposed to have a lot of physics in it. I don't expect it to be 100% physics realistic, but we can apply some principles at least, something that at least consistently feels logical. I mean, you could say like, okay, here's the ship at a 1.0 atmosphere level, like an Earth atmosphere level. This is how it flies, and then you can, and then you say here's how it flies at a 0 atmosphere level, and then from that you can come up with a sliding scale of between here and there, right? As you get up higher, you have less drag. Your ship starts to go faster, and all these things start factoring in. Hero says, or they could use a flight model like the Vietnam War, where they still use BFM up until the late '60s. Yeah, I mean Vietnam,
Yes.
the Korean early Vietnam, sure, absolutely. You can treat the what's the little ship? The Aurora like Bat 2-1. If you've ever
Yeah.
seen a movie, but anyway, so yeah, you can treat it like a little, you go all the way down like practically the little prop planes or whatever.
Yeah, the front engine, rear engine prop plane that you didn't even, I didn't even know it really existed until it came out. And then talking to our father, who actually flew in them while he was in Vietnam when he would be passenger, and he would tell me that they would be on such long missions, the pilots, that they'd go up and he'd be transported from one base to the other on rare occasions just himself, and they'd say, "I'm going to take this thing off. You fly this direction. Wake me up in X amount of minutes, and then I'll land the plane. I've been up for X amount of hours. I'm exhausted." And I didn't. And those planes were just made like run around, and then they would scout and they'd shoot their rockets into the area so that the ground troops could know where to go. Basically just for scouting missions, but still, that was pretty neat little aircraft. That's why every ship on the game should, the way they're originally planning it, go for each individual person's play style. If they
Right.
want to be a support role, if they want to be fully into nothing but combat,
Well,
each ship should fly different and each
yeah.
should do its own thing.
Well, it's like that's why I've always promoted the idea that ships. Every ship that I have in the game is a function, not a set of stats. I don't expect any of the stats on the ships that I have to remain a constant up to the moment of release. What I expect the ship to do is fulfill a role. Oh, Mr. Prizebot. There. I win, Mr. Prizebot.
As long as he brought you some lead,
He brought me a lead scrap, so completely worth blowing his butt. I
Wow.
didn't want his stupid watch or whatever he was going to give me. There you go.
depends. Maybe you can break the watch down for
Congratulations.
screws.
But yeah, everything I have is just there for a purpose, a functionality, filling in a gap. And if it's not, like if I like, I will melt a ship if I feel like either it's a redundant role in our group or if it's a one that comes out, it feels a little bit better. Like I have the prospector and the mole, which seems like I'm doubling up, but I look at the prospector as when I'm by myself, and when the mole's perfect for like 3 people, right? Lightning, Captain Tyler, myself. We gonna go out mining. There's 3 turrets, right? I basically put the ship in hover mode. I take the front turret, they take the sides. We harvest, and then since they said they're working on the ability to transfer money through the Moby Glass, pretty much anywhere in the world, it's gonna be nice because then I can start paying them for the coming along and helping harvest, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. It's one of the things that's very frustrating, I think, for people. Like when you have, like, I have most of the ships, and they tag. We always fly together, so it typically comes down to one person making the money. and everyone else is kind of like, yeah, I didn't really get anything done today. I can get where that'd be frustrating. What's the point of playing a game? You play with your friends, right? And I mean, other than that, I mean, playing with your friends, hanging out, sure, but you'd like to have a little advancement, right? So that whole idea of trading money is, is I think really important. Here it says, too bad most ships cannot fulfill their roles as is. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of like salvage was already supposed to be in, and I get I get it. Salvage is I'd rather not have them rush it. I don't need the golf swing version of salvage, um, and I still don't know how they're going to get that claw to work on the reclaimer. To be honest with you, because if it's physics grids, I mean, if it's going to grab an item, I mean, they can possibly get it to work, but it depends on how serious they want to treat those objects in space. I don't know. I don't even know how the ship pulls the stuff inside of itself. I don't even know if they figured all that out, because I haven't seen anything that works mechanically that does any of that.
You think it'd be easier just to have some sort of high power tractor beam? I mean, they got tractor beams in
But
the
it
game.
does have tractor beams on the side. That's what
So what's the claw for? Just to hold it?
I guess, like, hold it while you're cutting it. I guess while someone cuts it or whatever. But yeah, it's got tractor beams. It's got tractor beam operators. And drone operators and things like that. It's got a lot of stuff. It's just none of it's functional right now. So it's one of those ships that I just don't take out anymore, because what's the point? I'd like to take it out. I'd like to do more of these things. These guys are level 1. They are so dead. And then he exploded. But I'm all about. I wanted the circuitries, what I really killed them for.
I'm hoping that when Squadron 42 comes out, that I can actually complete it. How bad I am at combat. I mean,
Well, yeah, you're kind of down to one eye and one hand at this point in time, and 1 foot.
Yeah.
Holy crap! You're like literally half a person.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Hero says, I find it funny how pirates are complaining that 3.9 kills piracy when arguably we still really don't have a piracy in game, just griefing. Yeah, we don't have piracy in game, right? We just have griefing. Yeah, that's what they're complaining about. You're telling me that I blow some guy who's mining for no reason whatsoever and I have to get punished for it? What's not right? Cry me a river. Seriously, cry me a river. We've always known there was going to be a criminal system in there. I mean, how could you not? There's going to have bounty hunting. How do you think bounty hunting has to work? There has to be a criminal system in the game. What it comes down to is some people just want to do anything they want to do, and they never want any consequences for it. Well, Star Citizen, is not going to be that kind of game. You're going to have issues. You're going to have if you go down the criminal route. Here's what's probably going to happen. Early on, they're going to have everyone intermingled into the lawful sectors, right? People are going to be jerks. They're going to do stupid things. Eventually, they're going to get to find that they're wanted in all the lawful systems. So they're going to have to go to the outer areas, right? Then you're going to have those people who basically just they play with each other. They're coordinating. They're doing mining stuff. They're not going to have legal issues. They're going to be able to play in those systems. Now, the other guys can come in, but they're risking getting attacked. So you're going to have the player base get split out. You're going to have the outer areas. Now, the reason and this is where you get into the PvP, like they always like to say, oh well, the lawless zone should have the best supplies. I'm in strict disagreement with that statement, because my thoughts on the subject is that you could have lawless zones, sure, but there's but also the areas with the best stuff shouldn't necessarily be the lawless zone. It should be the contested zones. Now, what do I mean by that? The areas where the Vandul and the humans are slugging it out for resources. Why would they be fighting over a system unless there was something out there worth fighting for? So basically, where should the best stuff come from? It should be like, if you go out to an area, either you're criminal or legal or lawful, the best area, in my opinion, should be the ones that the Vandul and the humans are fighting over. And that means that no matter what direction, whether you're a criminal, you can still go there because it's a contested zone, or if you're not a criminal, the major threat in both those scenarios is actually the Vandul, not the players. And I think that would be a better way to go, and not just lock everything out like, oh well, you have to be a criminal to get the best materials. So that's kind of how Eve does it. And I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like the fact that low-sec is the only place you can go to get certain materials, and I think that's stupid. I think you should be able to get any material and anything. Why is iron only available out in low-sec? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, when it comes to gathering mining stuff, yeah,
I mean, I can
there's
understand
certain
like
metals.
where someone might want to a remote research base, like hidden out in the middle of nowhere, like away from the law or something, if you're doing some illegal fine. But generally speaking, the legality of an area should be more of a statement to the nature of the people, of the culture of the people living in that area, and that, as opposed to the technology or the available resources. It's like, yeah, we don't like the law, we don't like the government, so we all live out here outside of their purview. It doesn't mean like, oh, we all live outside their purview, so we have the best materials and resources. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I see too many games do it, and it's stupid. It needs to stop. Um, Let's see here. It says no docking in game. Almost no way to retrieve another player's cargo since they can only completely annihilate their ship. So no loot. Yeah, you're right. It is. There is no piracy. It's just blowing. It's blowing people up. It's griefing them. I was flying. I got a fully loaded Cutlass. I think it was no, a fully loaded Connie, and it was one of the last times I did cargo. And I just said I'm done. Because it was too risky. It was I gotten out of like a few 30Ks, and I picked up like one. I took some money and I said, I'm going to fill up this Connie with this material. So I took the Connie out, and I'm like, all right, all right, all right. I'm just going to do one last run and whatever. So I leave. I think it was wasn't it was Levski, and I literally lift off of Levski, and I get attacked by a couple people. They just blow the engines off my Connie, right? I mean, there's just I can't. The Connie isn't found. I'm literally just taking off. Blah 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 blah. And so my Connie just like falls over upside down on the planet, and it's not blown up. It's just upside down. There's nothing I can do. I can't save my cargo. I can't get my ship to fly. It's done. I'm broke. That's it. What was the purpose of it? What was their purpose? Nothing. They just attacked me because reasons. There was no financial gain. There was no reason for it. It was just, hi, we're jerks. And that's the thing, is that's that mentality that I just don't get. And it's not even saying like, hey, you want to fight? Let's have, it's not even a mutual agreement thing. It's just like, hi, oh look, there's someone I can shoot, or I come out of a building and someone rams me with their ship. I mean, like as a human being, I walk out of a building and some guy flies his freelancer into my face, like as the door opens, like wham. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, that kind of stuff. You're just like, what is this crap? And that kind of garbage, yeah. So if they have legal penalties and get thrown in jail for being jerks, good. And I hope that the escape is difficult, and I hope that they can sit there for a day or two. Honestly, let the rest of us go ahead and do other things. And once they get server meshing online, then basically we're not picking individual servers, and that doesn't really matter, because then they can be in their own jailed instance where they can all drop the soap with each other and just leave us alone. Um,
They can sit there and do this kind of crap inside the prison.
Yeah, and here it says it would be fine with piracy if they had something to actually gain, but as long as it's not the case, yeah, there's nothing to gain. There's absolutely nothing to gain, and it's just like, look at me, I'm a 5-star criminal, woo! Yeah, congratulations, that's real hard. I've actually done a defense mission where I didn't even shoot anybody, and I got a 4-star criminal ranking because the game glitched, and then I was being hunted down by everybody and everything because reasons. I mean, it's not hard to get a criminal ranking in Star Citizen. All you have to do is like catch them at the right or wrong moment. There we go. Give me some stuff. There we go. But yeah, as I said, it's one of those things that there's this has been, as I said, 2020, and then you add in the rest of the stuff going on this year, the chaos, is going to be the slowest year for development in Star Citizen. And honestly, I don't know if they can handle another year of bad flight model. I think the bad not the flight model. It's not the model. It's the mechanics. I keep using the wrong terminology, but you know what I'm talking about. It's not the physics. It's the stuff they put into the physics. It's the controls underneath. It's the mechanics. So if they don't, I keep thinking of how many millions of dollars they have thrown into the toilet by not hammering this stuff out. Because that there's a lot of people that have stopped pledging or have gray marketed or have refunded or whatever because they're not happy with the gameplay. This should have always been priority one. You get good gameplay, people will wait for you. Every little morsel that you add after good gameplay just adds to it. Every little morsel that you add, whether it's mining or salvaging or medical or repair, every little morsel you add past that first part is just it's just ice cream. You know, it's just cherry on the sundae. And it just makes it's just like, wow, the gameplay is great, and now I can also do X, and that makes people happy. But if you don't have that base default gameplay, then if you add those other mechanics, people don't really have any interest in that core experience, and that they don't really care about what you've added to a bad core experience. And like you've already seen games like Helion go down. And for a while, Helion, in some regards, was doing many things that Star Citizen talks about, what they wanted to do. In a lot of ways, did very similar things, and they went down for a myriad of issues, and there was problems built on problems, and they never addressed the core issues, which escalated. And which is what happened to Star Citizen. If they don't fix their underlying core issues, they're just stacking things on a broken foundation, and it's not going to work. I just wish they would stop and evaluate. And we haven't heard anything about Flight. I honestly, either this is a really great thing, or it's a really terrible thing. And with the experience in the past, with the if I went solely based upon their past actions, I would say it's a terrible thing. I'm eternally hopeful that I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. Here it says that, and how CR said that this isn't going to be a Grand Theft spaceship, and that's about the only form of piracy in the game right now. Yeah. Here it says we're kind of lucky the game is still in alpha, so there's time to fix the flight model problems. Well, it's an alpha, but the way that some people act when it comes to these underlying mechanics, they're just set in stone. Like, well, I am's in the game and it'll always be in game. That's just you just have to accept that. And then at the same breath, they'll tell you, well, it's an alpha. It's like, you can't have it both ways, dude. Either it's set in stone or it's not. You can't just sit there and argue that the thing that you like, for whatever stupid reason, even though it breaks the entirety of the game, is going to stay in game because it's been in the game for a while. And then in the next breath, when we argue about something else, how something's bad, and then you're countered to a post someone makes it's alpha. They do that little SpongeBob thing with the rainbow. It's alpha. I'm like, okay, well, with IM, it's alpha. So just accept the fact that crap needs to go, and it's alpha. Joining late. Wow, Fallout 76. Yeah, I was. I can't show you Evocati, so I'm playing something I can show. And I needed background footage, and I did X4 I think last time.
Yeah.
And so I was like I wanted to change it up a little bit. For that reason, I'm just on one of my 4 characters just bombing around the town. Dun, 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 dun. Who gets nuked next? Dun, 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 dun. All right.
As long as it's not my house again.
Someone's getting nuked. All right. This is why I play explosives expert. Oh, wait a minute. No, he's too close. I'll end up nuking myself. What if the Grafton monster's over here? I could nuke him. Who wants to see someone get nuked? Alright, see here. You should also keep in mind here it says that anytime there's a major uproar by the community, CIG has always been forced to respond to it. So if there's going to be enough over the flight model, they would change it. They won't have a choice. Yeah, but they do have a choice. They block everybody who disagrees with their methodology. They get them banned or kicked off, or the cult of personality comes in and shoves them off. I mean, their choice is always to stick their fingers in their ear and go, la, 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 la. We're going to fix it with the exact same solutions that we've done 20 times previously, except some slight variation in it. I mean, we've always seen them do the same thing. They ramp it all down, and then they start ramping it all back up. Like now they're doing it on a personal level. Like they sped up the animations for the people on the ground, right? I mean, it's like, come on, guys, stop. It's like when the only tool in your belt is a hammer. Every problem must be a nail, and their only way of repairing everything is to speed it up, because they don't understand that their underlying problems are, are control based, and it creates a pacing issue. Dun, 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 dun. Did I miss with a nuke? I missed with a nuke. How did I miss with a nuke?
That's about right.
It didn't even blow up. I mean, that's how did I missed the Earth? I missed the Earth with a nuke.
I was gonna say it's like you're when you're doing VATS, you get to 95%, and it doesn't
Screw
hit,
you,
and it doesn't hit.
Snallygaster! Yeah! Screw you on the bridge. Well, I guess it doesn't have that kind of range. There we go. That's enough mini nukes for now. I'm wasting them. Not that it matters. I can make tons of them. They don't really weigh much to me. I have the perk for reducing explosive weight by 90%. So they don't weigh anything for me. I can just carry tons of them. All right. But yeah, I mean, come on. Think of every solution that they've done with flight, and it's always come back to the same thing. We've always started off with, we're going to try to bring speeds down, blah blah blah, reduce mavs, blah blah blah, and then over time, something gets sped back up. They don't try to, like, okay, we've got it slowed down. We need to adjust other things around it. It's always like, okay, well, this doesn't work now, so we need to speed it back up. They don't try to adjust those other things, like the projectile velocities, right? Like, well, people can't get out of the way of shots now. Like, that's because you haven't adjusted your projectile speeds enough. So drop them down a bit. Drop down your fire rates. Try changing other things. Try it. Start looking at references in real world. Just stop going into the same bag of tricks. Keep telling me to pull out this. You've got a deck of cards, and it's all the same card, and you keep trying to guess. I'm gonna guess what your card is, dude. They're all jacks. Every card in that deck you got is a jack. You're gonna guess jack because it's all jacks. Stop it. Your trick sucks. Okay, just move on. Yeah, let's see. Hero says but they have to get the majority of player base interested in the game again, along with having Squad of Fortune actually be crap. Yeah, I know. They need to have. They can't just sit there and go, oh, we've appeased that 0.05% of hardcore PvP players, and so now we're going to burn down the rest of the game, even though every single thing that we've got, every single poll that we've seen is that vast majority of the player base are explorers, cargo runners, and data runners, and other things like miners, salvagers. By far, we're going to throw them all in the garbage to create an esport that nobody's going to turn into an esport, because we feel that we have to give into the cult of personality. I don't care if the entire community hates me. I don't care. I want the game to be good. I don't care. These people live and die by their likes on I mean, these people they're all about the, gosh, some of these video creators, you know them, and some of them have been called, I just, no, stop it. Yeah, great. You've got 500,000 subscribers. I'm happy for you. Great. Okay, can you say something meaningful? Can you stop worrying about your subscriber base? Can you do something? I got off of YouTube because I wasn't happy with how they're treating the video makers. Okay, I know I don't care if I threw away 3,500 subscribers. I didn't have the biggest channel in the world, but you know what? The bottom line is that you have to make a stand in something. It's not about the likes. It's not about being popular. It's like, screw YouTube and screw all the crap they're doing to people. And at some point in time, you either just sit there and say, well, it's the only game in town. It's like, no, I got BitChute, and if I don't get as many subscribers on BitChute, fine. But you know what? I'm not in it for the money. And I don't care. I'm in it for the popularity, and I don't care. I'd rather be right than popular. And and if I'm wrong about something too, and I'd rather learn that and then be able to correct it. I don't want to be so full of hubris, assume that I know everything, and then But we've looked at their way, we've seen their way, we've tried their way. It doesn't work, but they just won't let it go, and they just keep hammering that same nail with that same hammer all the time. And even if it's not a nail, it's a screw. Let's just hammer away. You know, I don't need any of that. Let's see here. All right, Grass says, to be honest, I'm taking a break from Star Citizen because nothing in 3.9 or roadmap is really adding anything to the game at this point. I'd rather play Bannerlord or soon to Cyberpunk. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk. And so just out and waiting for it. But every time I read another feature move, the next release, I sigh. Yeah. Hero says Grass, just the Grass, same. The minor flight changes I was waiting on moved to 4.0. Yeah, and they'll be moved again most likely. I mean, it's just it's disheartening. I want them to succeed with every ounce of my being. I want Chris Roberts to succeed. I can't even begin to describe how much I want him to succeed. I want everyone at CIG to succeed. We knew a guy that was I shouldn't say we. I knew somebody who was in the game who was a game programmer, and he knew one of the original Halo 1 developers who, when they were developing the game, they got a certain percentage of the property when they were developing it. They didn't expect it to take off very big. It was kind of the way that they were going to compensate. The guy is extremely wealthy, as you can imagine, because Halo 1 took off really well. And that percentage paid off dividends. Game development can be very lucrative, or it can be one of those hand-to-mouth kind of jobs. I want the developers, I want people like Tony Zorovic, Chris Roberts, Sandy Gardner. I haven't seen her in a while, but I want all of them to do well. I want them to be successful. To do that, they need to stop appeasing or appealing to the vast minority, the Reddit stars, Twitter stars. They're not helping your game, and they're never going to help your game because they don't truly care about the future of your game. They look at it as a way for them to win. And I know not all of them. Some of them probably do care, and they truly believe what they're saying. But I've seen so many of them that just, there's one in particular that he likes to gaslight. He pretends you've never had a conversation with him about something before, that you've had conversation. Former Raider. Interesting. Must be running from the bounty. Anyway, so but yeah, he gaslights. He pretends you've never had a conversation about something. He's very popular on the forums. He does videos from time to time. It's one of those things like, and he puts his videos up and people would know them if you knew which ones I was saying. But it's just like, he's like, I don't know what you mean by this. It was like, one time, one of the people in our Discord put up a link of like all the times that he had, like, not all of them, some of them, like it was a couple dozen links of times he had conversation with him, including screenshots of the conversations in Discord with the guy about the topic, and he just pretended like that. Even with that staring him in the face in the post, he just continued to truck right on through like these things never happened. And so that guy, for example, that guy's out for himself. That guy's out for himself. He doesn't give two poops about the game. He doesn't. He's interested in being popular or winning some sort of point at the expense of everything. So you got people like that, and you're always going to have people like that. But CIG needs to stop listening to all that. I don't care if they stop listening. I don't care not that they've ever been listening to me, but I don't care if they stop listening to even someone like me or them. I just want them to, if they're not going to do open development anymore, fine. Then just don't listen to anybody. Just get your crap working inside, and then 6 months later, we're like, ta-da! Like, guys, we got to work. We stopped listening to everybody in the forums, and we hired some people. We brought in people from and we got it all working now. And then, 6 months later, it's a surprise, and everything flight is good because they stopped, trying to appease the arcade crowd. I'd be satisfied with that, It's not like we're. I want to play Star Citizen on these streams. When I get tired of basically showing you guys the same thing, walking around a ship, flying around, driving a vehicle on the ground. What else can I do? Mine? That's equivalent of shooting ships, is it not? Just shooting rocks. There's just I get tired of showing you. This is why I change the footage in the background. I pick a different game, and because it's like changing your screensaver. Changing your screensaver. But anyway, wow. I never thought the stream would last more than 30 minutes, and here it's an hour and a half. I didn't realize that. My streams are always slow rolling too. It's like I don't talk about anything for the first half an hour. So if you stuck around this long, congrats. If you didn't, maybe I should put a marker under there. Hey, guys, we start talking about something that's important like a half an hour in. But it largely relies on you guys. And Q&A shows don't work well without you guys, because you guys make it work.
Without participation.
Yeah, this participation is key. You guys talking about things, bringing up subjects. That's what's important here. That's what the purpose of these are. To let you have a voice, let you give your feedback, to give your thoughts on things. I don't have all the answers. And like when I started off this whole thing with the Flight Star Citizen, I was anti-mouse. I was, mouse sucks, mouse needs to die in a fire, get it mouse out of the game. But then Alien War and I got into arguments, and Alien War and I were at each other's throat kind of in the beginning to a degree, and I was very much in disagreement with him. But the guy argued his point. He argued it well, and I learned a lot from him. And now I consider Alien War one of the best go-to sources I can have for information, because the guy is on point. He is brilliant. It's like him and Rogo and things. They're just brilliant people. I'm in awe of especially the way Rogo writes. I have to slow down to read Rogo, because man, that guy can write. I tell you what, that guy's loquacious. I love it. But these people, they teach me things. MHE taught me things. Lex taught me things. They're still teaching me things in this day. Speed Break. These are all really great guys, and they're not. I'm not the expert, Hano. I'm not the expert. They're the experts. So I defer to them, and I learn from them. And I've had some real world stick time, but nothing like these guys. And so that's the thing, is that I think it's important to keep an open mind when you're learning anything, and to be willing to say, I'm wrong, or step back and say, I need to reevaluate, and realize that you don't know everything. But this crowd that we're dealing with, they're adamant. You've got someone there that I just put out on block, because they still make the same arguments for the past 7 years, and they have, even though everything they've said is proven to be wrong, their argument is the same as day one, and you just get tired of responding to them, so you just put them on mute. You just put them on block, because it's not worth the argument. It's after typing.
They like to fight because that's what they like to do.
Yeah, they don't have any legitimate logical things behind their stances anymore. They just have their stances, and that's the end of it. They're standing in the middle of a burning house saying this is it, everything's fine, this is good. A hero says, you can't create an esport type of game. Every esport game came that organically, not because devs set out to make it that way in the first place, including Counter-Strike. Yes, esports happen. They don't get developed. This is why the people that try to chase trends very rarely are successful. Fortnite, it was one of the rarities. It chased what's that one? The Battlegrounds one. But Fortnite retooled, and they actually did it better than the Battlegrounds. That was a rarity, but for the most part, if you either at the start of a trend, but you don't chase a trend, because you'll never really establish yourself past as popular as that first one, and that's the nature of it. Let's do this one. Can I get in there? There we go. Yeah. Fortnite, with PUBG both suck though. Yeah, but Fortnite took off more than PUBG, and it's become the more popular of the two, and it's the one that chased the trend, not the one that established the trend. And I don't even think PUBG established the trend. I think it was just one that got the most notoriety first. But yeah, basically, it's very rare to see something that doesn't start the trend jump into it very successfully. That's why Blizzard now, when they came out with the new Warcraft 3 terrible remake, version that they said in their contract, Any game mods, any game modes that are created are owned exclusively by Blizzard, and that way they get full money, monetary, fiduciary credit, and so you just saw what people were doing to that. Um, Popular list, good no, yeah, that's a reasonable statement. Um, what Blizzard did, they said, yeah, if someone they were afraid of having another MOBA get created out of the redo. And so they said, hey, we're going to own everything that comes out of that. And so they're like, okay, so any game that's made through these mods is officially owned by Blizzard. So what did people start doing? Oh my gosh. Imagine the worst themed games you can imagine. I mean, think of the worst World War II theme based games you can imagine, if you get an idea of what I'm saying. Like, you get to play as the leader of, and your job is to destroy the fill in the blanks, and there's a ton of those games, right? And so it's like you get to play as the bad guys of World War II, get to go after a certain group of people, uh, and so there's tons of those. And like, yeah, Blizzard owns this game. It's owned and operated, licensed by Blizzard.
Ouch.
And so like, yeah, look at Blizzard. Oh, people are like taking tons of those, and they're making all sorts of ones. They're making ones like, let's say they made games based on Candyvan Panel Man games, and they also said owned by Blizzard. So, so it's like, yeah, you really want to take credit for everything? Here you go. Congratulations. It's all yours now. So it's funny because I think it's funny. Why am I over? I'm overloaded. Why am I overloaded? 331. What am I carrying?
Probably a heavy weapon you looted somewhere.
It doesn't make sense. I wasn't unloaded. I wasn't overburdened when I was. One second here. I'm not overburdened. I carry more, like, not wearing my armor. Okay, whatever. That's a thing. Warcraft 3 shows that Blizzard doesn't care about the quality of their IPs anymore. No, they outsourced that development of the Warcraft 3 remaster. They completely outsourced it to a third-party company. They didn't care. Blizzard, in my opinion, is a lot like EA now. They just sell based upon the name of their company, and even EA doesn't have much of a name left. But what EA does is they buy up companies that have good names, and then they burn them to the ground. You can think of things like BioWare and things like that. They destroy good companies, and that's what they do. That's their motif now. But Blizzard just takes all of their goodwill, and they just said, well, Blizzard basically is owned by Tencent pretty much at this point in time. So we're in a weird time, guys. We are in a weird time. Gaming company, I support largely. I like a lot. I have a lot of independent games. I back some Kickstarters. I like the small little guys. There's some really innovative like little games, little companies out there, and their games may not be as full features as some of the big ones, but dollar per dollar, sometimes I can get a lot of gameplay out of it. Right? I mean, more gameplay out of it than I do sometimes out of the games that cost me $60-$70. So I got to give kudos to those guys, and I got to prop them up. It's kind of the same way. Like, I'd rather shop at a local shop instead of Walmart because I'd rather like pay the extra couple bucks and support that little mom and pop grocery store, because if not, then we're all going to be stuck going to Walmart, and they're going to charge whatever they want because there's no other game in town at some point in time. If you become a monopoly, then there's no need for competition, right? So
it's bad enough when you go to the grocery store, and this is happening to me a lot, and they know they're the only ones in town and so they put whatever they feel like out on the shelves because they're just too lazy to do whatever.
Ooh.
And you can't get anything special. It's either this or nothing. So you have to drive an hour to go get what you like.
She's got all the bow plans.
Store
Look at that. She's got all the bow plans. She's got all the bow plans. Hey, Tyler?
Yes?
If I buy all these, could I give these to you to give to my other guy?
I don't care.
All right, I want to buy all these.
I'm not carrying anything. Every time I get
no, not right now. I'll do it after the stream, but I'm because they don't weigh anything. So it's
I know. I'm just saying that since I can't put anything up to my vendors right now, I've just been throwing into my vault. So I'm not personally, my characters are not carrying any plans.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a hard bargain on real quick and Grape Mentats, and then I should be able to get my price down on these quite a bit. So there, take some drugs. Now I can get stuff cheaper.
I'll take
So
anything in trade.
I go back in here,
Well,
go to
honestly,
notes.
I
So
have
I want my archer, my stealth guy to also use bows. Um, so yeah, now that's a couple thousand off each one. All right, so this is great. All right, this, and I might as well spend the money on something, right? I mean,
I trust you won't try any funny business.
I
Let's
won't.
keep this mutually
I don't care.
beneficial.
I'm not gonna- Lady, just sell me your stuff. Shut up. And there we go. And what the heck? Here, buy that too. There you go, lady. All
Do you
right.
have a random vendor?
I spent
buy
like
your
I just
house
spent like
from?
12,000 caps. I just spent like 12,000 caps, but it was totally worth it. Totally worth it. Um, throw tenderizer back on. There we go. All right, so that's good. I was upset that I actually spent those all on my main character because I was like, oh, I should have given them to my archer, but you know, whatever. It's all good. But anyway, yeah. I mean, guys, it's one of those things that CIG is really starting to feel more like a AAA developer in a lot of regards, unfortunately. You remember back in the days when the game first was being developed, you had like Wingman running around with the helmet cam, and things were like, it was really a lot more lighthearted. It was a lot more fun. It was a lot more just, week to week, you were happy to tune in to see what they were talking about. And
Yes, it does feel like it's more commercial now. It's like they're trying to fulfill their promises of being open development and talk about stuff, but it's so wishy-washy vagueness now that, and it's like, thank you for subscribing. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have this program. What did we watch?
yeah,
We
I
didn't.
mean,
We didn't learn anything.
no, we really didn't. It's like 2 minutes of whatever. The
And I don't
audio.
know if it's because of people out there who are taking
Hmm.
the long discussion programs and turning into 3-minute video
Yeah,
clips.
watching our
That's all we
channel
knew
was
about.
watching our channel was never the zip file version. I mean, you had those channels out there that would take like CIG, they'd do those 40-minute programs, and then they'd say, "Oh yeah, here's the program in 3 minutes." And then eventually CIG's like, "Okay, well if that's what you want," and they just basically stripped everything out. Like, but when you came to our channel, it'd be like let's say it was a 20-minute Star Citizen
We
video.
might even just talk about two things.
Oh yeah,
Two
we
things
we
that
would pick a
up.
couple things, not the whole show, intentionally. I didn't want to like just
Yeah.
have you come here and on the blast casts and just watch us and not get any of your new. I wanted you to see their content too, but we would go through it. I'd make a list, right, and I'd make a list of all the topics, and then Lightning would go through it with me on this shared Google document we have on the website, and then what we do is we would pick which ones we want to talk about, and then we'd narrow it down, and then so we would talk like 30 minutes about two of the things that they covered an entire video over, including a bunch of other topics, in 20, because we would talk about the underlying issues or things that within that. So we were never the zip file. If anything, you didn't come to our channel to get a quicker dose of information. You came because you were interested in digging into something. Okay, Grass, yes, I know. I remember those times, but that was before Arena Commander and the theory crafting, and basically now theory crafting was basically it. Now I really just want the meat from CIG and what they're actually going to do. No, I agree. I like info. I like the meat. I'll take that. We don't really have really any of that meat going on. Not these days. Not too much. A lot of it feels like everything is said with the idea of, oh, it's just all subject to change and we're not giving. I get that. I get that. But I mean, remember back a long time ago, we got design documents, right? I mean, they would go like, all right, well, this is how we're going to approach this. This is what we're going to do. And nowadays, I mean, how long has it been since we've gotten an actual design document? I can't even recall how long it's been since we've seen anything like that. And for a while, that was supposed to be their thing. You can still go up on the website, and there's semi-design documents there about what they intend to do with these different things. But they haven't been updated in years, really. So you're just you're looking at really old information, and you don't even know if that stuff's even relevant anymore. Sadly, I'm gonna see if my cockroach is here today. What the heck?
Probably is.
I love this cockroach. Yeah, this is awesome. I love Bethesda. The stuff they do with this, like that is that. First time I saw that, man, it's like they put a bowler hat on a cockroach sitting on a toilet holding a cane.
Yeah.
That's just classic Bethesda right there.
I just keep thinking of Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Not Spaceballs. Uh,
No, you're right. Spaceball. Also the Looney Tunes. Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby.
yeah,
Hello, my
yeah.
ragtime gal. The dancing frog. But
The
I do a
dancing
dancing
frog.
cockroach. But yeah, so yeah, we
It is Spaceballs. Yeah, because
yeah, because he comes the guy
Chuck
he eats the
West.
guy's chest from Alien, and he goes, oh, not
Yeah,
again.
Alien. It's like,
Spoilers. Because you haven't
what did
seen
he have? A
Spaceballs.
special. Yeah,
Yeah,
because they asked,
check please.
check please.
Yeah. So that was like I think it was like the last Mel Brooks movie I actually gave a crap about, but the they've all they've all basically gotten so wishy-washy now. The society wouldn't take anything Mel Brooks would put out. You couldn't do Blazing Saddles in today's day and age. People would lose their gourd.
Hollywood
What
wouldn't
the
let
heck?
him.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. I thought last time she was standing up front. Now she's on the intercom. The Mr. Fuzzy person. Uh oh. Then it exploded.
It exploded.
Anyway. These guys are always good for shotgun shells. Or good-ish. You spend a few, make a few.
It's not like the rail rifle.
Yeah, rail rifle. Oh, that's true.
Shoot one, get two
Oh
back.
yeah, that's great. I love my rail rifle. Alright, so Grass says, don't get me started on documentation. I'm an infrastructure engineer for a software development company, so the idea that CIG does not have enough time to actually document their plan is ridiculous. This means their developers are basically working off the cuff. This generally leads to needing rework because not working from a plan will lead to scope creep or temporary solutions due to technical debt. Yeah, I mean, look at their flight. I mean, how many things have they added on top of things to make things try to work? They haven't addressed core issues, right? There's no systemic underlying understanding of the core problems. They buried everybody who understood the issues and was talking about it in a Katamari and called it controller versus controller. It had nothing to do with controller versus controller. It had to do with mechanics. They didn't even bother putting us in the right category or even understanding what the category was. They didn't care. They threw everybody and every post into the Katamari. That Katamari had more posts than most of every other section in the forum combined.
And it killed it.
And they killed it, and the
People got tired of
people
it.
got
It's like,
tired
okay.
and they left and they quit trying to talk about it. And it's only crazy jackasses like myself who still talk about it because we still care and we still want to see people have a good game and it's we still very much care. I care about Chris Roberts and my brother told I played the hell out of Chris Roberts games when I was.
I never got to play it. I just sit there and lay on the bed and watch him play it because we had one computer.
Yeah, I mean I was
Because he would get off school, walk straight in there, and boot up the computer and sit there and play. I mean, I was just thrilled at Mark Hamill.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, oh look at, and then it's like, look at all these people who are
Yeah.
doing the cutscenes. This is just awesome.
yeah.
And you sit there and watch them go around. It's like this. To me, I mean,
Watch the Wing Commander 3 outtakes on YouTube. Sometimes they're hilarious.
so much fun.
And
And then you
also the 4
watch.
ones as well.
I love when I watch videos on that, and you find out, how much fun they. He had people who were like, you would not think actors. I don't know. Sometimes people think the actors aren't real people. And
Oh yeah,
and,
Tom Wilson when he sits there and Chris comes up to they give him a bottle of wine. It's got a plastic cap on it. And he's like you guys. He started crying. Then he walks up. It's just like it's hilarious. It's just like and it's like it's just like it's just. And it's like I'm sitting there trying to do my and Tom Wilson's like I'm sitting there trying to do my scene and then Mark walks up to me starts going whoom whoom whoom. He's like knock it off, Mark. It's like, yeah. But yeah, see, Hero says they might be hung up on Squadron 42. Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are.
Yeah, we
This
hope
year
they
is more
are.
about Squadron 42. They've got to. The reason that we're getting the Mercury on the four, I think 4.1 or
Yeah,
4.2.
that's confusing too. Why we're getting that shipped
Because
in? I
the
mean, they just
Mercury is most likely a Squadron 42 needed asset. Any ship you see right now that's going to be under development is something that's going to be in Squadron 42. I can about guarantee it. They're not gonna waste any time right now on developing any ship or anything that's not in Squadron 42. So for people like myself who own a Redeemer, we're not seeing that anytime soon, sadly. But the thing is that if your ship is, so you can kind of look at it as a hint, like if your ship's on the roadmap, it's because it might be involved in a major way, directly or indirectly, in 42. So be happy for that, I guess, in that regards. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them doing that. It doesn't bother me. Well, actually, I already went this way. Um, they need to focus on 42. 42 is going to force their hands. As I said, like last week, we were talking about the theaters of war. I think they need to make a co-op version instead of the verses, because we need to fight the AI. We need to have their AI between air and ground coordinating so that we can see how it works in action. Fighting player versus player is fine and all, but you can not only set the proper pacing if you do it with player versus AI, but you can test multiple things at the same time. Proper pacing, proper mechanics, the AI ability, how they coordinate between those forces, how the ping or how they act packet loss, or how much memory how much data you need to transmit them, how the changing of the pacing affects the if the AI is doing stupid things like leaning in the air or whatever, not or running through running off a cliff or whatever. You need to. It's a better test bed for that if they focus on that, as opposed to just having more of us out there just beating it. Now, if they want to do the versus side of that, fine. But I would always play the co-op. I'm
I
not
enjoy, and every what few games that I still play, the player versus the game, when
right.
you get a team of people going against a
I've always
uh,
enjoyed that. I think it's great. I mean, I've always enjoyed that, because to me it's like I like to play with people and coordinate. I would love to do Theaters of War co-op. To me, that would be like playing a slice of the persistent universe. It would. It would be like going out there with friends doing a mission. That would be ideal for me. One second here.
I was just thinking
All right.
of World of Warships.
Oh, I got
You
two
know,
big texts here.
there is PvP.
Yeah, but
I
there's also
don't like it,
PVE.
and I enjoy the only thing with
Yeah, Armored
PvP.
Warfare. I play the PVE side where you coordinate against the enemies. It's pretty fun.
It irritates me is of course it's a little bit better, but not much.
Yeah.
You can't do much more than tier 6 ships
Yeah, yeah,
in PvE battles because the payouts are negative unless it's like they encourage you to do PvP.
yeah,
But it's nothing worse than me starting off in the starting zone, and you start off in the next tier up ship, and you push play, and you get citadeled by some guy in a battleship. You're still in the starter zone,
yeah.
and your ship explodes, and your mission's over. And then when you log back in, you actually lost money because you didn't shoot at anything. And the guy who insta killed you was like, "Ha, look what I did." It's like,
Well,
that's not right."
let me
So
read
it's
these.
like,
Let me read these comments real quick. I got some really long ones here. So Grass says, "Don't get me wrong. I still want Star Citizen to succeed, but operating in a live environment is part of the problem. In software development, you always have something missing, but normally the team can just bypass till tech code is ready. But since CIG needs a working demo to sell ships, we get features which are not ready and just stay at tier 0 for years." Yeah, I would agree with that.
mm-hmm.
Here it says, one other complaint. I don't like how the Origin ships all look like IMAX now. They've lowered the graphical detail in all of them. Although I didn't like the art style to begin with, at least they looked more complex before. Which is why I'm betting the M50 rework will look awful, just like the 300 series rework. I get what they're doing with it. I understand what you're saying on the 300 and the Origin ships. I think what they're doing with the Origin ships is the idea of a smooth luxury ship, like the idea of sleek lines.
Yeah, in fact,
Um,
they took a piece of
the
sandpaper and just rubbed
Mercedes,
it.
yeah, it's like the Mercedes of the ship world. It's maybe it doesn't it may perform a little bit better, it may not, but it looks nicer. It's luxury, and you're right that some details are lesser. But the ships, I do admit, they have a better flow, which means that it doesn't look like the parts are as disjointed. Before on the 300 series, like you get hit in the engine, the whole back of the ship would fall off. It would there was it was like a series like it suffered the same problems that the Hornet to some degree still suffers, where basically it's like they made an engine, they made a body, they made some wings, they made a cockpit, they slapped them together, ship done, right? The Origin ships now are more along the lines of it's a unified shape. So it has more of a bit has a more unified feeling to it. Now, does that mean the artistic style is like 100% up my alley? I will be honest, I have a 350R and I have a 315P as my solo exploration ship. The 350R is my high-speed grocery ship. It's not even for racing. That one is so if I need to buy one or two guns or whatever, something small, whatever it is, and I need to put it in the cargo bay, that it's fast enough that I can keep away from people if I got to deal with jerks. It's my anti-jerk ship. The 315P is for when I want to do exploration, but I don't want to take out the dir, and I want to do something that's a little bit smaller, a little bit sleeker. Maybe it can land or go to places that a freelancer may have a little bit more difficulty going to. So, I mean, I have, as far as exploration, I have the 315, I have the freelancer dir, I have I have a terrapin, of course, got a terrapin, and I've got the Carrack, and
I didn't know you still had the Terrapin.
yeah, I've also got the Corsair. Um, so I've got the Corsair is the more of the
That's the Drake
that's Drake, the Drake Corsair. Because
exploration
I
ship.
was it was the reason I got the Corsair instead of I got rid of the 600i, not for the Corsair, but for something else. But anyway, I got rid of the 600i because the 600i to me was terribly designed on the inside, wasteful,
Had a lot of
wasteful space, and the turrets were ridiculous looking, hung up on a single piece of rebar in the back. There was a lot of bad design decisions that I don't understand how they passed any muster whatsoever, and I couldn't stand looking at it. So the Corsair is a combat exploration vessel. So I decided to go with something that brings a little bit more punch to the mix, but also retains the less requirements to run than the Carrack. So it was it was closer to the Aquila, or the Aquila, or how do you pronounce but at the same time presenting more firepower than that. So it presented a lot of that same options, but with some differences, and also it's a goofy ship design. It kind of reminded me of the shuttle in Star Wars, so I went with that, and
The ship the mother never let me buy.
yeah.
To
So
this day, every time I see one, I say, I wish.
let's see here. Grass says, now that's funny. Slap on a wing, cockpit, and engine, done. That's exactly what the Ships and Wing Commander movie looked like. So many CR did learn. So many CR did learn about ship design. Yeah, I dumped 600i because of the interior. Yeah, the interior was ridiculous. I mean, example of the bar, right? The people at the bar face the wall. The bartender gets to look at space. That's backwards. Any common sense? If you're just thinking of okay, if you've got guests in your ship, and it's got a bar, do the guests get the view, or does the bartender get the view? These aren't hard questions. These are design things to me that are as simple as breathing that CIG misses all the time. And I'm like, how do you miss this? How does it go through all the processes and you cannot see the problem? You go through like 10 layers of development and you're like, huh, that's dumb. No one along the way looked at that and said that's dumb. I mean, no one looked at the turret and said, oh, turret held on by a 1 inch by 1 inch metal pipe looks a little stupid. You know,
Oh, yeah.
no one thought of that.
Big
No,
gun hanging by
yeah,
what?
by a broomstick. That doesn't look like it would just snap off the first time the turret turned. I mean, could you at least have you put up a spiral, like a telescoping neck piece or something a little bit broader and wider? No, they didn't do that. they went through all the development processes and came up with these in a wasteful cargo space in the 600, right? Tons of space that you could put cargo in that cargo bay in the 600i Explorer. Tons of space. All open, all wasted. You could have consolidated. You could have taken the exploration part where the guys walk way in the back, right? The cockpit was big enough. You could have put those extra chairs in the cockpit, put that globe behind the cockpit, the pilot's chair, opened up that entire back area for cargo and supplies. Done. But no, they don't do that. They literally, the ship is designed like, let's waste as much space as possible and be utterly terrible at it at the same time. It is a bad design. It is badly thought out, and I'm glad I melted it. It's just not a good ship. Just because of the fact that no one would design a space vessel for deep space with that much wasted space in it. Period. Luxury or not. Like the sleeping quarters, okay? You could have literally had the walkway on the one side and then had all the beds and stuff in like little separate rooms and hutches on the right, like actual walls with hutches. No, what do? They have like little niches in the wall with a big open walkway in the middle. Why? Why would you do that? Why won't you give your people some privacy? Put some bunk beds in the separate little rooms, okay? There you go. I mean, they just don't think things through. Anyway, you can tell I'm passionate about the 600i. It's like Grass is leaving. No, okay, Grass.
Grass.
Thanks for keep missing Mondays. Later, Grass. I will get back to your thing here. It's the old 300i series more resembles something out of Star Wars, where you can see the individual wires and components, which I thought were pretty cool. Same with the old Vandal ships. Just look at the concept and the reworks. They also look graphically simplified. They are simplified, like they did with the Connie, but with the Connie they actually simplified it. They made it look better. Here it says, it just makes me suspicious that CIG is working these so they're not as hard on the engine to load and all ships and instances due to lower. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Hero. That's exactly what it is. You remember that's why they said that they wanted to use I just forgot the name of it. It's not the Vanguard.
Weren't they saying they were doing stuff to make it so it's using less assets?
Well, yeah. One second. There was the one ground landing ship I have, the one that carries a vehicle and a bunch of personnel. It was the one that went on CitizenCon Live. I have too many ships. Is it the Vanguard? It's not the Vanguard. It's
Are you talking about the one that's the same Crusader?
I don't know. It's got it's the one of
Hercules?
No, not Hercules.
Okay.
I know you're trying to help. You're not. It's the one it's got all the turrets and the sides open up. You can shoot the guns out the side.
Redeemer?
No, the Redeemer's not even in the game yet. This ship is in the game.
Oh, in the game. Sorry.
You can load a vehicle into the bay. For a while, they had arguments about the car. Anyway, the point is that vehicle.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That vehicle, it's the yellow one that I have.
Yes.
Okay, that vehicle is supposed to be in theaters of war, but they couldn't put it. The Valkyrie, thank you. That vehicle, I knew it started with a V. That vehicle could not get put into theaters of war because the asset requirements, the draw calls and stuff on that were so high that they couldn't implement it. And so they have to go back and rework that ship. That ship's also got monstrous problems, especially when it comes to the locking people out with atmosphere and having a big open balcony. And the second the ship opens, everyone dies because everything is vented. Anyway, so their designs, yeah. The thing is that the Valkyrie is one of those ships that they wanted to put in theaters of war. Draw call is too high. It was chugging out the game, so they need to rework it. So there's a lot of these ships that, yeah, they absolutely have overdone them. And this is why I think, honestly, that, if they want to have the high detailed ships have the option. Like a lot of games, like right now, a lot of games have varying degrees from low to ultra. Now, a lot of times as games come out today, they have an ultra setting, which almost no computer can handle. But the reason it's done is that 5 years down the road, when that computer comes out that treats that ultra like an everyday game, their game still looks up to date. So if they want to put the higher detailed ship in there, fine, do it. Do you want to have the lower detailed ship? Fine, do it. But just give us more graphical settings on that. Like I want the low poly ship, the lower poly ship, or the super high every bolt matters poly ship, And that way, when the game gets older, as it ages, as it advances, you can the graphics kind of go along with the technology. But for right now, they need to cut back on some of these ships and some of these assets. Absolutely, and that's just the nature. This is why I said years ago, if they would have done stylized graphics for Star Citizen, I would have been fine with it. If they would have done something like Borderlands style graphics with ships, honestly, it wouldn't have bothered me. And we would have been further ahead on development. They would focus more on mechanics and less on the other stuff, right? And I know some people don't like that art style, but I'm just giving you an example. The reason I like stylized games, guys, is for one reason and one reason alone. No matter if it's 20 years from now, that stylized game still looks good. You know why? Because it's stylized. It's meant to look like a cartoon. It's meant to look like whatever. And it's going to look like that 20 years from now. I'm going to go back and play Borderlands 2 10 years from now, and it's going to still look like they originally intended it to look. It's going to look stylized. It's going to look like a comic. It's going to look like a cartoon. It's going to look good because that's the way it was meant to look. A game that tries to look hyper realistic in any particular way 10 years from now looks like garbage almost every single time. Think of any game that you got that looked great back in the day. 10 years later, look at it and you go, wow, this is kind of crap. Okay? Because when it's trying to imitate reality as much as possible, as the technology moves forward, it ages like milk. And that's unfortunate. That's just how it goes. And that's why I prefer stylized. And you can also do more interesting things with the damage engine on a style. I mean, think how much easier it would be to do certain damage aspects on a stylized game. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just saying is that there are certain routes you could have taken, and I feel that they took some that created more problems than they may have been worth. Think how much easier it'd be to do the planet terrains on a stylized and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm a fan of stylized games, as you can tell. This. I wouldn't call this stylized. It's semi-realistic. I wouldn't call this hard realistic, but it's Fallout's got the stylized kind of thing going on. You look at the clothing; it's not that hyper-realistic. It's dirty and dingy, but it's got a kind of a fun, kind of cartoony note to it, to a degree. But I wouldn't call it hyper-realistic. It's Fallout is Fallout, and anything Bethesda makes like this, for the most part, is kind of thematically not overly serious. But Star Citizen is going for that super realistic experience, the look thing going on, and that will, I feel, bite them in the butt sometime down the road. And they'll probably have to have special patches, like we come up with we've reworked all the graphics, and we come up with a brand new patch or version that will.
I keep feeling like if they get too technical, then a person with a computer that's 5 or 6 years old not be able to play the game anyway.
Well, that's why they have to bring some things down, because that's very much the case. And that's why I'm waiting, by the way, to get a new computer until the moment when they say on Squadron 42, oh, guys, we have a release date for Squadron 42. It comes out in X, Y, Z, right? I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to order my computer. I'm ordering my computer.
I'll be buying a new graphics card.
Right then and there. That'll be a brand new computer. And this computer I'm on right now, this is going to be turned into a video editing and also retro game computer. This will sit over on the side, and anything that's not Star Citizen, DCS, or basically the new computer will go to the major games that I will play, or major games I play on the channel. But anything that's like retro, anything that's a little bit older will go on to stay on the other computer, and video editing stay on this computer, and so on and so forth when I do that kind of stuff, because it'll just kind of keep it all split up. And if I need the video footage, I can just put it on a USB and transfer it over, or network them or whatever. Hero says, yeah, but part of the point of Star Citizen was Chris wanted multi-million polys per model. Yeah, I get that. I get that's what Chris wanted, but sometimes I also want to look like I also want to be built like Thor from the Avengers, but not dad bod Thor, but early Thor. But I'm just saying, but the thing is that but the thing is that that there's all things that we want doesn't necessarily mean it's for the best, right, or it's gonna happen. Anyway, by the time Star Citizen comes out, the graphics may actually be semi-dated if they keep, this keeps up. Be like, yeah, this game was really top of the line 5 years ago. But and that's the thing too. You end up chasing your own tail on the graphical fidelity as time moves forward. As time moves forward, your game falls further and further behind as your release date gets pushed further and further back, and eventually you're like, what was the best is now ancient. And then you have to make a choice. Do you release the game as it stands, or do you go back and try to retool the graphics and delay the game even more? And you chase your own tail. At some point, you got to hit release, right? At some point, you got to hit the go button, and you have to decide: is it the mechanics good enough, and the graphics not good enough? Well, we're just going to release it and go with it, or you're going to have to keep chasing an always moving a goalpost. I think I just got snapped back from lag or something. But yeah, I mean. They did some improvements on 76 on the graphics, but I don't think they chased their tail on it. They just did some lighting and shading effects and coloring effects, and maybe draw distance improvements. they aged the areas a little bit more. The grass is a little bit taller. I noticed that. Like they aged it actually a year because it's kind of cool because some like the golf course is now overgrown. Where before the patch, the golf course was trimmed and kept clean by the robots, but a year later, like the golf course is literally overgrown. So it's like they did a cool thing like that when they updated it. So they updated and changed some of the effects and graphics, but at some point you just have to release the game, and then if you want to go back later and update stuff, then that's probably the best way to go. But CIG needs to pick a stopping point and say good enough, and just roll forward on mechanics. Just stop, you know. And that's kind of the way I feel about it anyway. But anyway, yeah, long stream today. Golly, I thought I'd be quitting like 10 minutes in. There was like nothing going on. I really appreciate you guys, by the way.
It is awesome. Also, we get all kind of feedback, and we can discuss anything.
It really is. I really do appreciate it. Thanks, Hero. You know, I know you're I don't know how many people are there, but I know you're the major contributor on this, and of course, Grast as well, for chiming in. You know, these are Q&A shows. They're meant to be interactive. They're meant to talk about things. You talk amongst yourselves. You talk with us. We don't have all the answers. We have thoughts. We have ideas. We have concepts. But we relate to them to other games that we play, other things that we do. And all we can do is, you know, I've been playing video games since Pong, and you know, I'm an older person now. I could say clearly I'm in the second half of my life, and so I am I'm not a boomer, but is it Gen X or something? I don't know. The point is I'm in my 40s. That's the point. The point is I'm in my 40s. That's the point. So I've been playing games for a while, and I've seen good games. I've seen bad games. I've seen some mistakes that are made continuously, some mistakes that are repeated from company to company, from industry to industry, from genre to genre, and the mistakes are sometimes cultural, sometimes they're developmental. In the Star Citizen, we've got a heavy dose of both. We've got developmental being led by bad cultural, and I've seen that like in 3 or 4 different games, and it always ends the same way, and that's what's really concerning to me, because I've never seen it in any other way than a complete disaster, where the game is a shadow of what it could have been, because the developers.
See, I feel like our generation, what Chris Roberts is, he was making games for our generation.
Right.
And when he came out and originally pitched this game, he said, "I want to make the game for you guys to play again."
Right. It was a throwback to what once was, and now now they're pushing to be like
trying to the younger people.
Right. Now it's trying to grab a different crowd than who originally backed it, and if it is someone that come out and said. If someone had come out and said, I want to make Wing Commander, if he come out and said, I want to make Wing Commander, but I want to make it like Ace Combat, I would never back Star Citizen. Never would have happened. I've been like, no, you make Wing Commander like Wing Commander, and you got me. You make a version of Wing Commander, some alternate world, but the basic thought process is that you make a Chris Roberts game. A non-freelancer Chris Roberts game. And I'm there, man. I mean, I'm there. What is that? Okay. But yeah, but if he had said I'm going to make an arcade shooter, I would have just shrugged my shoulders and flipped on to the next page. That would have been the end of it. And I think a lot of us feel that way. But this whole thing where everything's being defined by developers, I feel, who aren't familiar with the genre, not really. I mean, they're familiar with FPSs. They're familiar with it's kind of cool. They're familiar with
I feel like they're all familiar with Xbox.
Yeah, with the console gaming to a degree.
Which is fine, because that's how we started. But,
they clearly haven't done or don't do the research, and because there's no way that you can tell me that these guys do the research into this game genre to come up with the conclusions that they come up with. There's just no way. It almost feels like they clock out at 5 or whenever they clock out, and they don't give it another thought. And I know that's probably not entirely the case, but the bottom line is it just feels like it, because there's no way that these examples can be out there and they don't utilize any of them to come to a reasonable conclusion without them just deciding that their wheel is rounder and they don't give a crap what anyone else says. And I don't know. I want to make Freelancer 2.0. Not at all what CR said. Right, exactly. No, if he had said, I want to make Freelancer 2.0, I would have said, and good luck with that. And that would have been the end of it. I would never have backed it. Never. Never. And that's why I was asked by the backers, specifically, if the flight models could be like Freelancer. And Ben Lesnick said, sadly, nothing like Freelancer. No point and click. quote unquote.
Sadly.
Ben is a fan of Freelancer.
Yeah, I was.
So it was like, so yeah, he said he used the word sadly, but that was important. I think it's important to put into the quote because it shows that even against what he wanted, it was already clear the direction that they were going was not that direction. See, the sadly, my thing gives emphasis that said right then that Chris was making a certain type of game. Ooh, finger slipped. Chris was making a certain type of game, regardless of what Ben wanted. But it was making a throwback to a game style that the people wanted, not what Ben wanted. And then we got IM, which is what Ben wanted. And he was like probably pretty happy about that. But that's why people were asking about that in particular. Because that was a concern from day one. Because we knew what the outcome of that would be. We played Freelancer. We've seen Freelancer clones. I own Freelancer clones. We know what that plays like. We know what that outcome is. We know the controller balance problems because it's the same problems they still haven't resolved from Freelancer. That came out in 2002, 18 years later, and they haven't fixed the problem. Because they can't. It's impossible. So we didn't want to see that repeat. And then they went down the same road. And then they've been obstinate ever since. But I repeat myself quite often.
Dun, 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 dun.
But anyway, guys, so thanks for hanging out on this 420 Blaze It day. I have to admit, I am not one for blazing it. But if that's your thing, then today is the day, I guess. It's Christmas, because your Christmas. I think it all should be legalized as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, if you're doing something to yourself and it's not hurting anybody else, I don't really care. I think that...
I would think cigarettes are worse than what they're...
Right, exactly. I mean, the way I look at it is like, look, if you're doing something and it doesn't hurt anybody else, I don't care. It's only when something hurts someone else that's when it needs to be an issue and it needs to be dealt with. But if you're just sitting out there doing whatever, I'd rather just people stay out of your hair. You know, let people live. You know, let people do their thing. I'm very much, I guess you could say, a libertarian if you want to give me a political leaning. I just believe in, you know, the idea of the non-aggression principle. I guess you could say is a good terminology too. The idea that basically you don't enact force upon others unless you're having force acted upon yourself and you need to defend yourself. Very much the way that when I taught martial arts, that was the concept too. It was the idea of the scholar and the warrior, is how you bow. The open hand covering the closed hand. The idea was that, you know, you discuss things, you talk it out, you resolve it, try to resolve it peacefully first, and if not, you remove the covered hand. You remove the open hand to release to expose the fist underneath. So as to if the scholar doesn't work, then you do the warrior. So that's the concept basically, is the non-aggression principle. So that's the way I feel about a lot of things like that. I'd rather just live and let live. So as much as possible. It's a complex world, and sometimes that isn't always the case. So, but anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna probably wrap the stream up there. I really do appreciate it, and you know, thanks, Hero. I mean, if I knew at all how to make any of this Twitch stuff work, I would give you a badge or something. I'm pretty much. Oh, looks like my little stream thingy is stopping a little bit. So, I hope my internet's still working. So, if it's not, then yeah, go from there. Tyler, is my stream still working?
Oh, look.
Thanks, because my wireless is either kicking off funny or whatnot. But
Can you move?
well, I'm
Yes, you're still working.
okay, fantastic. I must just had a wireless thing on my Kindle uses a wireless. But anyway, on that note, I will go ahead and cut it off before my internet dies. And thanks again, guys. And I didn't think a show would even come close to this long, and it lasted like 2 hours longer than I expected, honestly.
And we didn't get to chase Mr. Dragon as much.
We didn't get to chase Mr. Dragon. I did get to shoot at him a few times and throw a couple grenades. It was totally worth it. So, all right, everyone. I'll go ahead and kick it over here, and I really do appreciate it, and I want you to have a really good week. And if anything happens this week with the release of to live, I will go ahead and stream some of that new stuff for you. You're welcome to jump in and show you around as much as you want. All right, everyone. Well, we will catch you on the next one, next Monday or hopefully sooner. Bye-bye.
Hi, guys.